Well, for more on this, let's bring in former FDA Commissioner Dr. Scott Gottlieb. He sits on the boards of Pfizer and Illumina and is a CNBC contributor. Dr. Gottlieb, it's great to have you here again on a Friday afternoon. I guess we'll start where Seema left off. How is it possible that this happened if all of the passengers were vaccinated and they tested negative getting onto that cruise? Did both of these passengers somehow pick up COVID at one of these stops?
That's one possibility. Another possibility is that they were incubating it before they got on the ship. I also think that you need to make sure that children are vaccinated on these cruises. I mean, at least initially, we should be requiring 100% vaccinated cruises, in my opinion. I've been part of a panel that made a set of recommendations to the cruise lines. I co-chaired that panel, the Healthy Sail panel, with Governor Michael Leavitt, and a number of CDC officials were part of that. And among our recommendations was for aggressive testing, both before the cruise experience as well as on the ships potentially and after the ships got back into the port. We felt that with testing and certainly with requiring vaccinations for all the people who come onto the ships, you can create a protective bubble around this experience. Not 100%. Nothing's going to be 100%. But you can substantially reduce the risk that you're going to have a single introduction into the ships. And if you do have a single introduction of infection into the ships, you could substantially reduce the risk that you're going to have an outbreak if the passengers are vaccinated and if you're doing vigilant testing. So I think that you can create a protective bubble around these experiences. It's unfortunate that they had this challenge with an early cruise, because I think the probability of having cases on the cruise ships, given what they're doing, is low. But keep in mind, these were two asymptomatic infections that don't seem to have led to any downstream infections. So it does demonstrate that the system is working.
And forgive me if I'm misunderstanding this, but if you have one of the Moderna or the Pfizer vaccines, isn't your chance of contracting COVID-19 something like 1 or 2%? And both of these people did, and I believe they were rooming together? Or am I misunderstanding how these vaccines work with the contraction of the virus in a positive test?
Yeah, it's a little bit more than that. The vaccines are 95% effective. The effectiveness in an older population is going to decline over time, so it's not durable. So over time, an older population, even after vaccination with the mRNA vaccines, is going to have a likelier chance of becoming infected, certainly an asymptomatic infection. It doesn't mean that people are going to become sick from the infection. As best I can tell, based on the public reporting, these were two asymptomatic individuals. I don't know what age they were, but there is a chance that you can become an asymptomatic carrier of the infection. Now, your risk of transmitting the infection, based on the data that we have, if you've been vaccinated, if you've been fully vaccinated, is substantially reduced. So when people do become asymptomatically infected after full vaccination, their risk of transmitting the infection is substantially reduced. So I think that the likelihood that you're going to have an outbreak on a ship, similar to what we saw at the outset of COVID, when you're testing passengers before they get on, when you're testing them while they're on the ships, and when you're requiring vaccination among the passengers, I think the risk of an outbreak in that ship environment is substantially reduced. And that vacation experience can become a lot safer than comparable experiences, certainly than going to a big city where you're going to be interacting with more people who aren't undergoing regular testing and may not be vaccinated. So I do have confidence in what the ships are able to achieve. Now, again, I've worked with these cruise lines through that Healthy Sail panel. I've also advised Norwegian. But I have confidence in the measures that they put into place. And Norwegian is actually requiring 100% vaccination, so they won't be allowing kids who are unvaccinated on their vessels.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.